Interview 1.
Welcome to Future of Learning. Today, we're discussing the impact of technology on education with Dr. Sarah, an educational technology expert. Dr. Sarah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Technology has changed many industries, and education is no exception. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in the way technology is used in education?
One of the most significant changes is the rise of online learning platforms. These platforms allow students to access educational materials from anywhere in the world. This has made education more accessible, especially for people who may not have had the opportunity to attend traditional schools. Additionally, technology has enabled personalized learning. Students can now learn at their own pace, using adaptive software that adjusts to their individual needs.
That's fascinating. What are the benefits of personalized learning?
Personalized learning allows students to focus on areas where they need the most help, rather than following a one-size-fits-all approach. It can be especially beneficial for students who struggle with certain subjects. With adaptive learning platforms, the software can identify which topics a student finds difficult and provide extra practice or alternative explanations to help them understand.
Are there any challenges to integrating technology into education?
Yes, there are some challenges. One of the biggest is ensuring that all students have equal access to technology. In many parts of the world, there are still students who don't have access to the internet or computers. Another challenge is training teachers to use these new technologies effectively. It's important that educators feel comfortable using digital tools in the classroom so that they can enhance their teaching methods rather than feeling overwhelmed by them.
What advice would you give to schools that are looking to adopt more technology in their classrooms?
I'd recommend starting small and focusing on tools that will have the most immediate impact on student learning. It's also important to provide training and support for teachers to help them integrate technology into their lessons. Finally, schools should ensure that technology is used to complement, not replace, traditional teaching methods. Interview 2.
Welcome to Green Living. Today, we're discussing sustainable agriculture with Mr. Thomas, an expert in sustainable farming practices. Mr. Thomas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Sustainable agriculture has become a hot topic in recent years. Can you explain what sustainable agriculture is and why it's so important?
Sustainable agriculture refers to farming practices that aim to produce food in ways that are environmentally friendly, economically viable, and socially responsible. The goal is to meet the current demand for food without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This means reducing the use of harmful chemicals, conserving water, and promoting biodiversity. It's important because traditional farming methods can lead to soil degradation, water shortages, and pollution, all of which threaten long-term food security.
What are some examples of sustainable farming practices?
There are many sustainable farming practices that farmers can adopt. For example, crop rotation is a technique where farmers grow different types of crops in the same field each year to improve soil health. Another practice is agroforestry, which involves planting trees alongside crops to create a more diverse ecosystem. Additionally, organic farming, which avoids synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, is another sustainable approach.
What challenges do farmers face when transitioning to sustainable agriculture?
One of the main challenges is the cost. Switching to sustainable practices can be expensive in the short term, as it often requires new equipment and training. Another challenge is the time it takes for these practices to show results. Sustainable farming is about long-term gains, and farmers may not see immediate benefits. There's also the challenge of market demand. Consumers need to be willing to support sustainable products, even if they are slightly more expensive.
What advice would you give to farmers who are interested in adopting sustainable practices?
I'd suggest starting with small changes, such as reducing water usage or experimenting with organic methods. Farmers should also seek out government programs or grants that support sustainable agriculture. Finally, it's important to educate consumers about the benefits of sustainable farming so that they are willing to pay a fair price for these products.
Interview 3.
Welcome to Workplace Trends. Today, we're discussing the challenges and opportunities of remote work with Ms. Laura, a human resources consultant. Ms. Laura, thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here.
Remote work has become much more common in recent years, especially due to the COVID-19 pandemic. What do you think are the main opportunities remote work presents?
Remote work offers several opportunities for both employees and employers. For employees, it provides flexibility. People can work from anywhere, which allows them to balance work and personal life more effectively. It also opens up job opportunities for people who may not be able to commute to a traditional office. For employers, remote work allows companies to tap into a global talent pool. They're no longer limited to hiring people who live near the office, so they can find the best candidates regardless of location.
That sounds promising. What are some of the challenges associated with remote work?
One of the biggest challenges is communication. Without face-to-face interactions, it can be harder for teams to collaborate and build relationships. It's also more difficult for managers to keep track of how employees are performing, which can lead to trust issues. Additionally, some employees struggle with staying productive when working from home because of distractions or lack of structure. Finally, remote work can lead to feelings of isolation, especially for people who are used to working in a social environment.
How can companies overcome these challenges?
Companies can address these challenges by implementing strong communication tools, such as video conferencing and messaging platforms, to keep teams connected. It's also important to set clear expectations for performance and provide regular feedback. Encouraging employees to maintain a routine and set up a dedicated workspace can also help improve productivity. To combat isolation, companies should promote virtual team building activities and encourage employees to take breaks to avoid burnout.
What advice would you give to someone who is new to remote work?
I'd recommend creating a structured schedule and sticking to it as much as possible. It's easy to blur the lines between work and personal life when you're working from home, so having a routine helps maintain a healthy balance. Also, stay connected with your colleagues, even if it's just through virtual meetings or chats. Communication is key when working remotely.